affect our body. My name is Wick Nixon, and before we get into it, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background to me and how I got to be in this position telling you about sugar cravings. Ever since a very young girl, I've always been interested in cooking. It's been my absolute passion. I grew up on a farm, and so I'm not really quite sure where that came from because it was meat and 3 veg meals for us. So although my mother was a great cook, it was, there wasn't much, focus on health. And then I do remember when I was about 16 making a really conscious decision that I was going to be careful about what I ate because I didn't want to be overweight, and I could have swung either way. So exercise and healthy eating has always been really important to me. So then when I travelled overseas, it was all about the food. I just loved going to different countries and listening to the different cuisine, and eating the different cuisine. And so it was as authentic as possible as I could get. So that was absolutely something that really inspired me. So when I returned back from overseas, one of my biggest dreams was to open up a cafe serving all the different cuisines that I had experienced. Now, can you imagine what a logistical nightmare that would have been? Now my dream is to open up a health retreat. So it's been in the past 5 years that I've really turned my focus onto really healthy food and eating as healthy as possible. And then it became about inspiring others to do the same. And if I can inspire and educate people to make healthier choices, I know that I've made the difference. So how I became educated on sugar cravings was that some of you may have read my story, but I used to get sugar cravings and they were bad. It was always after lunch or dinner, but it was mainly after lunch, and I had to have a sweet treat, a sweet something, no matter how hungry I was, no matter if I didn't feel that I needed it. It was just habit that I had a sweet treat. And although I thought it was always homemade, and although I thought it was healthy, it was still using refined sugars and lots of dried fruit. And I remember going to see a nutritionist as I was having some stomach, issues, and I was having a lot of bloating and feeling really uncomfortable. As it turned out, the culprits were dried fruit, and gluten. But what she did was she asked me to do a food plan. And after analysing it, she said, cut out the sweet treat after lunch. And I was like, I can't. And she said, why not? And I said, because I've done it for years and I just wouldn't be able to do without it. And she was like, it's not serving you because of what I was putting in it. Just cut it out. And I thought my arm had been cut off when she told me to ditch it. But if someone tells me to do something, I can actually stop it. So I did. And yes, it was hard initially, but then I learned what foods to fuel myself to get the correct nutrients for lunch. And so then I wouldn't get the sugar cravings, because sugar cravings are an indication that something is missing in your body. So if you supplement or replace those that nutrient that's missing, then you won't get the craving. So that's what I did, and I honestly didn't need it. So then I thought, if I could change and have such great results, then others can too. So now I crave loads and loads of fresh vegetables. I've got a veggie garden. I just cannot get enough of them. So I would love to show you how you can do the same. I run my own wellness business called Wicked Wellbeing from Home, and have done for the past 2.5 years. And over the years, I've come to realise that one of the biggest challenges that people face is getting off the sugar cravings roller coaster. Now, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, but what I do is surround myself in healthcare professionals who have really impacted my learning. So it totally excites me to be sharing with you what I've learned over the years. I always love to give credit where credit is due, and these two lovely ladies, Dr. Karen Wolfe and Dr. Libby Weaver. Firstly, Dr. Karen Wolfe, she's an Australian physician. She's a health coach and author and international speaker. I have been to many of her seminars. I've read her books, and what she so she's an Australian, but she married an American guy, and when she went to America, she didn't want to be in diagnosis and then treatment, being a doctor. She wanted to get into the wellness area. So she didn't become a doctor and has just spent the past 20 years in the wellness area. She has written this book, Is Your Lifestyle Killing You?, which is what we refer to further on. And then the lovely Dr. Libby Weaver, who I'm sure we've all heard of. She's Australia's leading holistic nutritionist, and she has written several books, Accidentally Overweight and Rushing Women's Syndrome, and 2 cookbooks, which are absolutely fabulous, all about raw whole foods and getting as many nutrients into your diet as possible. So I really appreciate and thank these lovely ladies for a lot of my learning. I also love to hear about the background of, or the families of speakers. So just a little bit in here. I've got 3 young children, Oliver 9, Anna 7, and Briar 5. And I like to say that my 2 girls are very spirited. They're lots of energy. You can see the cheeky grin on my little girl's face. I do what I do for them. I love to be at the school gate so that I can drop them off and pick them up and be at their sporting events, but then I like to be doing something for myself as well. So that's why I run my own business from home. And then my husband, Kent, who is a business development manager for a commercial company called Thermosash, he's very passionate about what he does. So we've got 2 very passionate people in our house. Before we jump right into understanding about sugar cravings and why we get them and how to overcome them, we need to understand a bit about the body first. Some of you may be aware that irritation and inflammation in the body are caused by lifestyle. So I'd really love you to understand the true causes of inflammation. So what I'm going to do is build the case, so to speak. So I'll talk about the problem, the price we pay, and then, of course, the solution. This gentleman here, Dr. Myron Wentz, he is a scientist, and he is the only person who has kept the human cell alive in a lab for 20 years. He's worked out what to feed the human cell so that it renews and regenerates at optimal levels. But in that period of working with the human cell, he's realized that we're living too short and dying too long. People just weren't meant to be dying at such a young age or getting degenerative diseases at such a young age, but then taking a long time, to the road of when our life ends. What we should be doing is happy, healthy, dead, but we very rarely hear about that now. And it was from him that I heard that our generation of children is the first generation that is not going to outlive our children. Now, that's really scary. So here's the thing. The price we pay for inflammation is cellular damage. And if that's the only thing you remember in terms of definition or explanation, because if you can link inflammation to cell damage, then you've understood a really important piece of the puzzle. So the more inflammation you have, the more cell damage you have, and that affects everything down to how quickly you age, how much energy you have, how you fight infections and diseases, and how you sleep. So what we're going to do is look closer into the terms of lifestyle and what causes irritation that sets off the inflammation. This lovely lady here, Dr. Christine Northrup, she has been interviewed on the Dr. Oz show, she's written numerous books, states that what is going on in your body is going on in your life. And it's so true. If you've got a lot of stress in your body, then you've got a lot of stress in your life, or the other way around. So it's no accident that we're seeing more heart disease, diabetes, cancer, food intolerances, arthritis, dementia, because of our lifestyle having an impact on our body. So I'm sure that many of you have heard of free radicals, but do we actually know what they mean? They cause the inflammation. So if we can get a greater understanding of what causes free radicals, then we can reduce that inflammation. Free radicals are nasty little critters that run around our body and they eat up all our good cells. And our body uses free radicals, but when there's excess free radicals, they take over and cause the degenerative diseases. So these things here. There are many other aspects, but these things here are what causes mainly the free radical increase. So poor food choices. Are your foods full of preservatives, chemicals, and additives? Are you eating meals that have been on the shelf? You know, you can go to the supermarket and buy a meal that's sitting on the shelf for 6 months. What additives and preservatives has that got in it, and what does that actually do to your body? We've got lack of physical activity. Activity. Today's lifestyle is so sedentary. We just are not moving like we used to. So it's parking your car away from the office, or taking the stairs, or even sitting on a Swiss ball, you know, one of those balls. It's a fantastic option to be in a chair. And I also heard the other day that if you do your exercise early in the morning and then sit on a chair in an office for 8 hours, then you've actually undone all the really good work that you did in that first part of the day. So you need to be getting up and moving, at regular intervals. Stress. Now, this is something, stress is a huge free radical loader. I know that my mother can't believe how fast our lifestyle here is up in Auckland, or in the city, compared to how we grew up on the farm. And that is, women are a lot more driven now. They need to go back. They need to go back to work, or they want to go back to work. There's so many more women who run their own businesses. So it's just being really careful that you are getting those de-stressors into your body, into your lifestyle. Sleep deprivation. People aren't aware of how important sleep is. So 8 hours of sleep a night is really essential. So get to bed by 10:30 so that you get that deep restorative sleep. Sleep deprivation is also linked to sugar cravings, and it's linked to a lack of energy. So make it a point that you get into bed earlier rather than later. Poor nutrient intake. So we spoke about that earlier on, being poor food choices, but where actually are you getting your fruit and vegetables from? Because unfortunately, if it's from a supermarket, the nutritional value is not in the fruit and veggies from the supermarket, because they've taken so long to get there, and also they are full of sprays. So I buy my fruit and veggies from a market. So there are markets around where, hopefully where you are, grow your own is an absolutely awesome option. And just be aware of use in season. Eat what's in season, not that what's come from the US, because how long has it taken to get here? Excess sugar and insulin. So we're going to go through that more in absolute detail, because at the end of the day, that's why we're on here. Digestive stress. If your digestive system is not working, then nothing is working in your body, because 80% of your immune system is located in the gut. So if your gut isn't full of the healthy bacteria, then it won't be able to digest the nutrients from your food or your supplements if you're taking them. So that's why a probiotic is so important, to replace the healthy bacteria in the digestive system. And also 90% of your serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, is made in the digestive system. So another really important reason to make sure that your gut is balanced with healthy bacteria. Environmental toxins. So this is what you're exposing yourself to on a daily basis through obviously the external environment, but it's also what cleaning products you're using in your home, what products you're using on your skin. On an average daily basis, women put in 200 chemicals onto her skin, and that's through skincare and hair care, makeup, deodorants, moisturizers, hairsprays, the works that we lather ourselves in. So it's really important to be making sure that you are using a paraben-free and nasty chemical-free skincare range and cleaning product, environmentally friendly. And then lastly, isolation. Isolation is an area that is often forgotten, because we feel that we're too busy, but it's so important to be making sure that you are getting together with other people and having a coffee with those friends and even people in business, and getting out there, going for a walk with a friend. So, just be aware of those things, and how much you're actually, it's a really good test to see about all these things and going over them in your own lifestyle. So that's the problem. The price we pay is this. It's inflammation. It's cancer. It's all the degenerative disease, heart disease, obesity, stroke, autoimmune disease. I'm sure we're all aware of someone who has unfortunately lost their life or dealing with some sort of degenerative disease. And no matter how much money the government is putting into research to bring these degenerative rates down, they're not coming down. Do you know 7 out of 10 people are dealing with some sort of degenerative disease? And it's actually not just these types of things. It's an irritable bowel, it's gluten intolerances, it's allergies. How many kids have got nut allergies? So in summary, our lifestyle causes chronic cellular stress, which causes chronic low-grade inflammation. So if we can reduce that inflammation, so the free radical damage, we can then, by changing our lifestyle, it's going to make a huge impact on our body. So what can you do? This is where I refer to the 8-step healthy lifestyle solution wheel from Dr. Karen Wolf's book, Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? These are the main areas that she focuses on in her book, and that's the food plan, physical activity, sleep, stress management, high quality supplementation, digestive health, detoxification, and system support, which is basically what we went through in the what's causing the problem. So where I like to start is the food plan and glycemic stress. But before we get into that, I just want to give you some understanding around the around glycemic stress, because it's a term that we may all have heard of, but do you actually know what it means? Glycemic stress is caused by eating lots of high glycemic foods, which is pretty much the standard Western diet. Glycemic stress creates cellular stress, which creates inflammation, which creates toxic waste, which we're seeing around the midline area, and that's where we're putting on the weight. So before I want to go into the glycemic roller coaster, I want to give you some understanding around glycemic food rating. So I'm not sure if you've heard, but I've just seen a message there. Does someone have good notes for this? Yes, there is a recording that will come out after this. Thank you. With the glycemic index, every food has got a glycemic rating. And high glycemic foods are 70 and above, medium glycemic foods are 55 to 69, and low glycemic foods are 55 and below. Where you want to be focusing your energy and your eating is low GI foods, because I'll explain it in a moment, but those are what are going to keep you fuller for longer, and therefore you won't get those sugar cravings. So what are high glycemic foods? They are your sugar, your lollies, your ice cream, and your biscuits. They are your white flour, white rice, white tortilla, your processed, as white as it is, it's been through more of a processed manufacturing system, so therefore it's taken all the goodness and the fiber out of it. So muffins, biscuits, all those types of things that are using white flour, they're high glycemic foods. They're going to give you a spiking of your blood sugar levels, and you're going to be hungry really quickly. Most breads, although some breads are becoming more low GI, the grainier the bread, the better it is for you. So, and also a lot of breads are stating whether they're low GI. So you want to be looking at packaging. Most cereals. Now, up until three or so weeks ago, I would have said there was nothing on the supermarket shelf that ticks the box for being a healthy cereal. However, I've recently been introduced to Claire from Teatatu Toasted Muesli, and she does the most fabulous mueslis, and they gluten-free. Some of them are no sugar, but they use all natural sources of sugar, so they haven't used the refined sugars. So really be aware. Check out the sugar content of cereals on the supermarket shelves. You've got highly processed foods. So the more processed something is, the worse it is for you. So it's where you want to stick to whole foods and raw foods, because those are what are going to fuel your body. Potatoes. Now, potatoes get a bit of a bad rap because they are high GI. However, if you combine potatoes with something else on your plate, which is a low GI, it does bring the low GI content down. If you leave the skin on, again, it brings the content, it brings the GI value down. It's the same with any vegetables and fruit. More skin, the more fiber you're going to have, so it's going to take your body longer to process it. So instant foods like, for example, you've got rolled oats and you've got instant oats. Obviously, rolled oats are much better for you because they have been less processed and they're going to keep you fuller for longer. And fruit juices. I'm not a fan of fruit juices because they are concentrated sugar, basically. So I'd rather that someone eat a piece of fruit rather than fruit juices. This just gives you some understanding. Now, what I don't want you to do is get hooked up on numbers, because there's nothing worse than wanting to eat something and trying to find out what the GI value of it is. However, so once you sort of get an understanding of where things sit, you'll be aware of what are the low GI values. White bread, so I'm looking at the pink column here, white bread, bagel, French baguette, they're all high GI, so you really want to steer clear of them. Pretzels, now pretzels are touted as a healthy, low-fat snack, yet they've got a GI value of 83 because they're made out of white flour, and also their sodium content is really high, which makes them really addictive, and you cannot say no to them. I'm sure you're all aware of that. So I would just steer clear of pretzels. I mean, they used to be in our house, but now we just don't have them. You've got cornflakes, see all those refined sugar cereals, instant white rice, 87, and then your potatoes, 72. Heading down the bottom, watermelon is a high GI fruit, but in saying that, it's better than having no fruit at all. So just be aware, it's because of the high sugar content. So then if you head over to the green column, you've got soya and linseed, whole grain, heavy mixed grain. Can you see that the more grainy it is, the lower the GI value is? So just head down that track. You've got rolled oats, natural muesli. Into the staples, you've got brown rice. See, brown rice has got the husk on it, so therefore your body's going to take longer to digest it. 50 as opposed to 87 in the white rice. Quinoa is a fabulous protein. It's a grain, ancient superfood, and I replace it a lot for rice and use it a lot in salads. So if you're not familiar with that, do try and just Google it, or buy some and work out how to cook it, because it's absolutely divine. And then you've got all your fruit and veggies down there. Now, bananas, unripe 51, ripe 62. So I don't want you to eat green. I'm not saying eat green, but the unriper, the lower the GI value is. I suppose you can tell that when a banana is ripe, it's sweeter. So that's where that high glycemic value comes in. If you want to know the GI value of a food, go to the glycemicindex.com or Google glycemic index, and it'll come up with this link, healthharvard.edu. The link was far too long for me to put on there, and that has a really comprehensive list of foods. So I'd like to now delve into the glycemic roller coaster in great detail, as food is a way that we can reduce stress. And if you can understand the glycemic stress, it can be a game changer for you, and you're more likely to choose foods that better serve you. Now, the reason I focus on sugar is that sugar's everywhere. Cancer, arthritis, and inflammation love sugar, and making slightly different choices can make a big impact. So I like to give this example of a typical breakfast being a glass of orange juice and toast. The body loves to have our blood sugar levels in this ideal range, which is the blue level, because in the ideal range, we can think clearly, we sleep better, our joints don't hurt, we don't get the ups and downs of our mood, and we'll make more controlled food choices. So what happens is when you have an orange juice and toast for breakfast, so that's white bread, up goes your blood sugar into the top red zone. And when your blood sugar rises above that ideal range, the hormone insulin comes out. So the higher the blood sugar is, the more insulin that's popped out. Now, insulin is a fat storage hormone. The role of insulin is to get the blood sugar levels down. So down it goes, but when it goes lower than the ideal level of the body thinks it's under stress, and the hormone cortisol is released. And cortisol is a stress hormone, and it does everything it can to try and keep the body regulated. So it increases the blood sugar levels back up again. But cortisol is a fat storage hormone. And this is the standard Western diet. Up in the red zone is high blood sugar levels and high insulin, fat storage. And down in the bottom red zone is high cortisol, stress, and fat storage. So to give you an example of how this might work during the day, if you give your kids a glass of orange juice and a bowl of Nutri-Grain for breakfast, it will shoot up their blood sugar levels above the normal range, and they'll get an instant hit of energy. However, a couple of hours later, they will be starving, and they'll be down in the bottom level. And so then they'll have morning tea, and that might be a biscuit and a packet of chips. But because those are high GI foods, it's going to shoot the blood sugar levels back up, and they'll get an instant hit of energy. However, then a couple of hours later, they'll get hungry again, and they might have a white bread sandwich and a pack of those little rice wheels and some pretzels, because people think pretzels are healthy. That'll shoot them back up. But if you can imagine over day to day, week to week, continuing on this roller coaster, it's going to send their body into stress. And their concentration levels aren't at their best. They're hungry, they're irritable. So eventually, this is what leads to obesity and type 2 diabetes. Now check out these stats. Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes. We never saw it in kids. Between the ages of 9 and 19 in 1980, 2% was in children. By the year 2000, 30 to 50% was in children. But by the year 2010, 70% was in children. And this is totally controlled through lifestyle and diet. Now, we are talking about type 2 diabetes. I do need to explain that, because type 1 is, you're born, or you can inherit, well, not inherit, but you can gain type 1 diabetes. But type 2 is totally reversible, and it is totally controlled through food and lifestyle. And really interesting statistics, which really scares me, is that children born by the year 2000, 1 in 3 will be diabetic. Now, this is why I do what I do, because I want to educate people that we can reverse those statistics. So the answer is to have the stable blood sugar levels in this blue zone. The worst thing you can do, absolutely ever, is not to have breakfast at all. Because what we do is, while we're sleeping, our body is fasting, but breakfast is breaking that fast. Your body needs to know it's going to be fed. Otherwise, it'll go into stress. It'll hold on to the fat storage and won't use it as an energy source. So when people don't have breakfast, or they have a coffee for breakfast, that's exactly what is happening. And your body's metabolism is thrown out, because your body thinks it's on its last meal. So it's going to hold on to those. And so a lot of people that I that I work with, it is an absolute game changer just to get them starting eating breakfast. And you're meant to eat it within an hour of waking. So people often say to me, I'm going off, they're going to go off carbs. But our body and brain actually needs carbs. It needs it to create the energy. It's the spiking of the blood sugar and the insulin that creates the inflammation. So it's getting rid of refined carbs and refined sugars and replacing them with low GI carbohydrates. So we need to get rid of the notion that carbs are not bad. It's the kind and the amount that we're eating. And it's really important to be combining protein and carbohydrates in every meal and your snacks. So what your meal should consist of is, if you're looking at your dinner plate, it should be a quarter protein, and a quarter being the palm of your hand, a quarter carbohydrates, again, the palm of your hand, and then the rest, the other half of your plate should be fresh vegetables and salad. Now, again, when we're looking at carbohydrates, and it took a lot to get my head around it, but the carbohydrates are not the rice, the noodles, the pasta, the potatoes. It's the quinoa, it's buckwheat noodles, green tea soba noodles, all those different types of things. And if you want to learn more about those, jump onto my Facebook page, because Wicked Wellbeing, because I share a lot of recipes using those type of things. Most people are asleep at the meal and using food like a drug, and they're not even feeling it. Food should fuel you, and if it doesn't give you energy and make you feel good, then don't eat it. Excess bloating and gas isn't normal. Reflux, nausea, stomach cramps, and headaches aren't normal, and feeling really tired after a meal isn't normal. So really listen to your body and work out what is making you feel good and eat that. And if it doesn't make you feel good, don't eat it. I give this example because it's all about real foods, alive foods, and not dead foods. Alive foods go off and they go brown. Like a banana and an apple goes brown. And that browning is called an oxidation. That means the cells are aging, so they're alive, so that your body knows what to do with alive food. However, if you use dead foods, like cornflakes and a McDonald's cheeseburger or donuts, do donuts grow on trees, or do they grow in the ground? And, cornflakes have got a 2-year shelf life. If you think about your body doesn't know what to do with that. So stick to real foods, because your body is really going to thank you for it. It's like any other addiction. The most important thing to be firstly aware is to be, firstly aware of it. So this is an awesome food sensitivity questionnaire, which was originally by Kathleen de Mason's book called Potatoes Not Prozac. It's a really interesting read and will open up your mind to sugar cravings. The more ticks in this questionnaire, the more likely you are to be sugar sensitive, which means you have this biochemistry that has a big impact on the way your body responds to sugars, which means your reaction to sugar is higher than someone who doesn't have sugar sensitivity. So if you're someone who's sugar sensitive, it's going to shoot up your blood sugar levels faster and cause more of that spiking. So I really like sweet foods. I eat lots of lollies. I'm very fond of bread, cereal, popcorn, and or pasta. So do you crave bread? I used to crave bread. I could never ever turn down a fresh loaf of bread. Whereas now I know that it doesn't fuel my body, so I don't even go there. Do you crave a bowl of popcorn after, sitting on the couch after dinner? I now or have once had a problem with alcohol or drugs. One or both of my parents are or were alcoholics. One or both of my parents were especially fond of sugar. Now, the reason that they put these two links together is that when they're trying to get people off alcohol, they will often substitute it with sugar because it has the same addictive qualities. I mean, that's scary. I'm overweight and don't seem to be easily able to lose extra kilos. I often hear people say I am exercising and exercising, going to the gym all the time, but actually, are they changing what they're eating? Eating a low GI diet can be a game changer. I continue to be depressed no matter what I do. I often find myself overreacting to stress. I have a history of anger that sometimes even surprises me. So this just gives you some indication that it's not quite as simple as just stopping eating sugar or high GI foods, as some of us have a biochemical addiction to sugar. So the solution, what can we do about it? This is why I've created the Sugar beFree program, because I find that people are they're in a place of where they're at now and they want to get into a healthier place. However, they just find that it's too hard to go cold turkey. So what I've done is created a program which is a bridge to get you from one side to the other. I'm all about baby steps, making one change at a time, because if I told you to make all different changes, you're just going to say, "Wick, it's just too hard. I can't do it." And you'll just stay where you are. So the best place to start is the food plan. And the program that I've developed it boosts serotonin levels, it reduces sugar cravings, and it decreases inflammation. So the Sugar beFree program is made up of 4 components. It's made up of low glycemic foods, exercise, cellular supplementation, and lifestyle support. And we're going to go through those. So what we do is we begin with a 5-day sugar detox. Now, this is something that you don't have to do. As I said, some people, they just cut out sugar or refined sugars and they start on a low GI diet. But if you feel that you need guidance along the way, or you want some support, this 5-day sugar detox is a really awesome place to start. It's super simple. It's really easy to follow. It's not a diet, because diets don't work. And the moment you tell your brain that you're on a diet, your body is going to crave those foods more. So what this does is it teaches a lifestyle change, and it's not about deprivation and starvation. There's no point being starving, because that's when you are going to binge and you're going to fall off the rails. So you don't want to set yourself up for failure. So what it does is it focuses on feeding the body the right nutrition and at the right intervals, because when eating regularly is really important. So how will you benefit? You learn a low glycemic lifestyle. You get increased energy levels. You learn about portion control, because, as I say, it's really important to be fueling your body every couple of hours, because then it doesn't go into that state of stress and think it's on its last meal and hold on to your fat sources. So it's eating every 2 to 3 hours. Low glycemic snacks and low glycemic meals. You have a more restful sleep while your body is detoxifying. You stabilize your blood sugar levels, because they're specifically formulated to be low GI, and a offset of that is that you release weight, and the average weight loss is 2 to 4 kgs. And you obviously reset your metabolism, because your body is learning that it's being fueled regularly. So when do I use this? I use it as a sugar detox, which is, what we're talking about now. If people want to release weight, if people are going through quite a stressful period in their life, or they've got a stressful week coming up. A friend of mine had a really stressful week with work. So what she did was she knows that she resorts to the pantry and unhealthy eating when she's stressed. So she put herself onto this 5-day detox to control her stress. And it means you don't have to think about what meals you are having, and you're going to be eating regularly, which is what your body wants. Or if you want a general detox, which is what I do it a couple of times a year just as a general detox. It's all really, great and well for me to tell you about how great it is. But I love to hear testimonials. So here are a couple of testimonials from a lovely couple in Queenstown. So this is Tony and Phil Myers. I'm thrilled to finally be on my way back to healthy weight thanks to WIC's awesome Sugar beFree program. WIC's resources made my journey since having children fall into place. I now understand why I couldn't shift the weight, a combination of stress, cortisol levels, the way I was eating, and the sugar roller coaster which had me needing sugar to manage. I knew I was addicted and I'd never felt like that before. I totally lost my sugar cravings after being on this program. Having my husband as a buddy and doing it with me was extremely key as we kept each other accountable. I would highly recommend WIC's Sugar beFree. She genuinely wanted to help and see us succeed. I'm so excited now to continue my weight loss journey and use WIC's healthy eating knowledge to do so. And then this is from her husband, Phil, and I love this testimonial. I decided to partner my wife doing WIC's Sugar beFree program as support more than anything else for my wife. However, after five days, I found the weight started falling off me, so I decided to continue the program. To date, I've lost 7 kgs in 5 weeks, and I find I'm not craving sugar or carbs. I'm surprised how much energy I have during the day because of the low GI diet. I've found the lifestyle changes relatively easy to implement, so I'm keen to stick with it. Cheers for your support and information. So it's such a powerful program, and it's something that anybody can do for 5 days. And as a little bit of a treat, we have got someone online, a lovely friend of mine, Rhonda, who I'm hoping she can hear me, and she's going to unmute herself. I'll just see if she was going to do a testimonial for me. Rhonda, are you there? No, she doesn't appear to be there. She was there earlier. Anyway, I'll just tell you a little bit about Rhonda. She, when she first started on the program, hold on. Rhonda, is that you? No. Okay. No, I can't. Sorry, Rhonda. She had done various diets. Okay, so she's got 3 children. Her oldest is 10, and she decided that it was her time now. And so she wanted to focus on, she'd put on weight for every child and had focused on her children. So she said to me, is this a program that will, I've done so many different, numerous diets and often lost weight, but have put it on or they haven't sustained me. Is this going to work for me? And so I know for an absolute fact that these, they keep you full, they're really tasty, and if you get hungry, it's not, as I say, it's not about deprivation or starvation. It's to be stopping you from eating those biscuits or those muffins. So what we did was we put her onto the 5 days, and within the first couple of days, she was like amazed at how great she was feeling. She wasn't hungry. And in the first 5 days, she lost 3 kgs. And now she's continued on because she's got large weight, decent weight loss goals. And she is continuing on with the next phase, which is something that is a choice that you make at the end of the 5 days, depending on what your goals are. So starting on the 27th of October, I'm taking a group of 15 people through the Sugar beFree program. So let me explain to you what's included. You get the 5-day sugar clean resources. So that is all your meals and snacks for 5 days, apart from a piece of fruit and a serving of fresh vegetables. And that also includes a probiotic. Now, as you will remember me mentioning it before, a probiotic is really important to restore the healthy bacteria in the gut, and I really like people to start on a probiotic so that I know that they're going to absorb the nutrients from the food and from the nutritionals. So you get a getting started guidebook, And that explains the kit in detail, what to do before you begin and how to get prepared, and then how to get the most out of the 5 days. You get full audio coaching support sessions. Now, I believe this is the absolute key to the program. I've partnered with a couple of doctors in the States, Dr. Karen Wolf and Dr. Deb Kern, who they discuss on these pre-recorded audios about sugar sensitivity, the glycemic index. They talk about food and mood, and they go more into exercise and serotonin levels and serotonin enhancing foods. Remember, that is your feel-good hormone. So it's eating foods that make you feel good and how to shop for low glycemic foods. As I say, this is where the learning opportunities happen, and they will create that long-term success. And because they're pre-recorded, you can either join as a group or you can go online and listen to them when it suits you. You get a daily tip to keep you on track via email. You get one 15-minute personal coaching call with me and a private Facebook group support. It's really great to know that other people are doing it at the same time and going through what you're going through. And if there is the need, there's the ability to receive additional one-on-one coaching from me. I know that support is the key to this, to the success of this. So that's what I'm here for. As you would have read from Tony and Phil's testimonials, a buddy, I always encourage people to do it with a buddy because they keep you accountable. They make it more fun. And if you're doing it as a husband and wife, then you don't have to cook. You might just have to keep on, feed the kids, and it keeps you on track. So lifestyle support. This is the third component. You can either do it on your own or you can do it as part of a group. As I say, not everyone does it this way as a group, or they just, they do just do it on their own. But doing it with a group, it makes it more fun. And you do know that other people are going through the same thing. So you can be jumping onto the Facebook page and, creating those questions, asking those questions, and there's just so much more support there. Now, exercise. The reason that exercise is so important is because it improves insulin sensitivity. We have these things called insulin receptors on the muscles, and the more we work the muscle, the more these receptors work better. And because the muscle size increases with exercise, there's more room increased for these insulin receptors. So that's why it's really important, especially when you're over 30, to be including resistance training into your workout program. You do not want to lose muscle tone, you want to increase it. And the other amazing thing about exercise is it's one of the best antidepressants around. It's a natural serotonin booster. There's nothing better than getting out into the sunshine to go for a walk or getting up early in the morning to get to the gym, because you will find that you are way more productive. And so then the last part of the plan is cellular nutrition in terms of supplements. Supplements reduce the inflammation in the body and they counteract the free radical damage. So antioxidants, they neutralize the free radical damage. So you need to be eating, antioxidant-rich foods, but unfortunately we can't get the nutritional value out of our foods that we used to be able to get. One stat that I love to share is that one orange has got the same nutritional value as 8 oranges 20 to 30 years ago. So, and it's because of the way that our soils are crops are being sprayed, they're full of chemicals and preservatives, and they're not being allowed to be ripened by the sun on the vine. They're being picked early, put in the cool store and sprayed to ripen. And those all have an effect on our body. So that's why it's really important to be, organic as possible, or, fruit and veggies from the market, or grow your own, absolute best. So I hope that you can all see how lifestyle plays a huge impact on inflammation and what foods we feed our bodies and how they cause sugar cravings and what we can do about them. And it's not only about calories in and calories out. It's not that simple. And there are so many other factors that we need to consider. I could do a seminar on all those other different factors, but the most important place and easiest place to start is the food plan, which obviously includes the exercise, the cellular supplementation, and that lifestyle support. So now what I want to do is just go over again the Sugar beFree program, just to give you, an additional outline of how it works and what you're going to get out of it. So you will reduce those sugar cravings so that you crave healthy foods. You learn portion control because you are feeding your body, every 2 to 3 hours. You increase those energy levels. You learn a low glycemic lifestyle, and that is the key. That's where we want to get. We want to be eating low glycemic long term. And this is just a bridge to get you there. You have a more restful sleep while your body detoxifies. You're receiving ongoing support for your lifestyle changes, and you're going to release weight. So as I said, starting on October the 27th, I'm taking 15 people through so that I can keep it small and personal and offer that support. And you get your 5 days of resources, which includes your meals and your snacks and your nutritional supplements, including a probiotic. You get a Getting Started guidebook, the 4 audio coaching support sessions, the daily tip to keep you motivated and on track, the personal coaching call, private Facebook group, and the ability to receive additional coaching one-on-one if you require it. So to finish off, I just want to explain, go over the pricing with you, because I think you'll understand that when you see that it's only for 5 days, it's normally priced at $297. But starting, on Monday, I'm offering it for you for only $177. So that includes everything. And I think you'll agree that it costs like $10 to $15 to go out and buy lunch. So for that to be 3 meals, apart from your fruit and veggies, your piece of fruit and your serving of veggies, it's a very economical way, especially when you're getting all that support. So if you are interested, if this is something that appeals to you, then you can click on the Join Now button, and that will take you through to a PayPal option. And if you haven't got a PayPal account, then you're more than welcome to email me or text me. Call me, text me, and I can send you through my bank account details, and we can get that payment process so that we can get your products ordered and shipped straight to your door so that we can get you started on Monday if it's something that appeals to you. And there's a bonus for though if you secure your place tonight on this program, then I will add in a week of healthy, low glycemic recipe sheets, because cooking is my absolute passion, and it's educating you and supplying you on recipe ideas so that you can be integrating that into your family after you've done the 5-day reset. So, and that is all, and also included in that will be 2 lifestyle handouts, which will go more into depth while exercise is so important, how to get, and then what to eat when you go out for dinner. Because let's face it, this is a lifestyle change, so it's got to work in with what you're already doing. So it's, it's understanding what to choose when you go out so that you're keeping those calories down but still fueling yourself. So I'd like to thank you so much for coming online tonight, and hopefully you've had, some aha moments, some new insights to take away. And please, if you have, I would love you to share them on your Facebook page or on my Facebook page, Wicked Wellbeing, because the more people that get to know this information and can share it with others, the more of a difference we can make. Have a lovely rest of your evening, and if you've got any questions, please email me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And hopefully you're keen to join us on the Sugar beFree Challenge. But remember, anybody can do anything for 5 days, and trust me, it's totally worth it. Good night. I'll just leave this up for a couple of minutes so that if anybody's interested in writing those details down or clicking on to the PayPal option, then you can do so. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.